Giovanni, what can I say? We worked together for 2 years at Opodo, and I can say that I know you very well. Opodo began as a total travel startup and has now become one of the most visited travel sites in the world and a market leader in the UK, France, and Germany. Thanks to you, Giovanni, reaching revenues of 1.5 billion euros per year. That for a startup on the web is quite remarkable. The speed of the internet, the technology challenges we faced in transforming travel distribution, managing also the giant expectations of our many airline shareholders, the many Italian dinners, Giovanni, also that we had at 1 in the morning. It wasn't 9 o'clock, it was 1 in the morning, always would be a testament to that great friendship. During that crazy journey, we could read each other's thoughts, and maybe even in Italian, I think. It was a journey that I know you and I will never forget, and we developed a great friendship, and I know it will last forever. Giovanni, and I also want to thank two very important people that are here tonight, both our wives, Melissa and Elena, because they really put up with those long hours and long days. So I want to thank them for that. Now, in every great life, Giovanni, there is a moment that comes to define you, and I think that moment of crisis that forced you to dig deep and establish who you really are came for you on September 11th, 2001. We were together that day, and a call came from American Airlines to advise us that one of their aircrafts had crashed into one of the Twin Towers. Turning the TV on, we watched that day in horror as the two towers collapsed and other planes crashed in the Pentagon and in the fields of Pennsylvania. We did not sleep that night as we understood what this would mean for the world and for an airline-owned travel startup. We were asking people to enjoy traveling and flying the world, and we could not do that anymore during those weeks. So as the marketing and sales director of Opodo, I realized with you that we had to radically change our strategy if we were to survive what came to be the total collapse of air travel in the following months. I also knew what you were thinking that day, what to do now, what is next for the industry, what can I do for the industry. 2 weeks later, you receive a phone call from the Delta Airlines CEO, Leo Mullins, who was then chairman of IATA. He asked you to join the organization and revive the industry. Most large US airlines had filed for Chapter 11 and nobody wanted to fly. In fact, we couldn't even pay people to fly during those days. If you were to become the CEO of IATA, you had one non-negotiable condition: to have total operational autonomy. A condition that would give you the freedom to do what had to be done. The monumental task of leading and transforming an industry going through its worst period in history. IATA in the early 2000s was, as Giovanni explains in his book, a dusty cave, dark and full of creatures afraid of the light of day. It was a bureaucratic organization. And despite this metaphorical Lord of the Rings type picture, Giovanni saw the crisis and the challenges as an opportunity, and the restructuring required as a chance to forever change the aviation industry for the better. Giovanni has an incredible business career and has worked in many sectors. To name just a few of his roles, he led Alitalia Airlines as CEO and helped internationalize the Italian industrial giant IRI, as well as working with his close friend and mentor, Jack Welch, at GE. Now, there are many reasons why Mercury, the global governance and visionary leadership think tank that I lead, wanted to co-publish this book. But these are the three fundamental ones, Giovanni. The first and most important reason is that this is an incredible business turnaround story that must be told. But not just of a single organization, but of an entire industry. A fundamental industry for the economy that we all use every day. Families and economies realized this in 2010 when the volcanic eruption in Iceland stopped all flights over Europe for weeks, affecting people, affecting goods and services all over the world. Most large US airlines Number two, it is a story of leadership and excellence in global governance at a time when there is none. Your job entailed managing diverse stakeholders with opposing agendas, including governments, airport operators, global corporations and airlines, but always seeking what was best for passengers. Passengers were always your #1 priority. You managed to achieve consensus because of your honesty and determination. But you never allowed the lack of consensus to get in your way. You are a master diplomat and a master tactician. Your influence will be felt for decades in making global aviation successful. And the final reason is because we need more of you and quickly. Visionary and honest men that are pragmatic and determined and that get the job done. My secret plan tonight in this regard is to take some of your DNA, later today clone you, and use these Giovanni clones to make 1 or 2 European countries better managed, or maybe the whole of Europe, Giovanni. I could go all night praising you, but there are other speakers here today, and we are honored to celebrate with you the publication of this extraordinary memoir and leadership primer. With this work, you have documented the revolution you were hired to undertake at IATA and the monumental changes that occurred while you politely shouted your now famous catchphrase, "Basta," at the most powerful governments, world leaders, officials, and CEOs in the world. Or as 2 foreign interpreters understood it in one of your conferences, "Pasta" and "bastard." I now give the word to Robert Milton, former CEO of Air Canada, to tell us more about your great new book.
Thank you, Nicholas.